Hi, this is 𝗪𝗲 𝗪. You probably got something in the mail called your annual notice of change. What does it mean? What do you have to do with it? Today, I'm joined by Hannah Garner, our Director of Agency Operations in our office, who's going to go over just these questions. Hi, Hannah. What do you have?
Hey, Chris. Well, we've been getting a lot of calls from our clients, people who aren't our clients, people who are just confused in general, because the annual notice of change is generally a pretty long document that doesn't make a lot of sense to most people, and it can be pretty intimidating when you're looking at it.
Let's see. Do you have an example actually to show us?
Sure. So most people are going to get this in the mail sometime this month, and if you don't get it in the mail, it probably means that you signed up for electronic delivery of, sorry, I'm trying to get my screen up. Electronic delivery of your policy documents. And you can go into your member portal for whatever insurance company you have. And usually you can download this notice from that portal. And pretty soon we're going to have a document for our clients and the companies that we work with where you can just click a link and go straight to the login or the registration page if you haven't registered your policy yet for your drug plan or your Medicare supplement or your Medicare Advantage, whatever it is you have. But these notices come for anyone who has a Part D drug plan, a standalone drug plan, or a Medicare Advantage plan, whether or not it includes drug coverage in it. So the example that I have is just for a drug plan. And I have gotten rid of all of the identifying company information out of it. But you'll see it'll be clearly labeled annual notice of change. And if you have the electronic copy of this, if you downloaded it from your company's portal, then you can actually just hit Control and F at the same time on your keyboard, and you'll be able to search for any keywords throughout the document. So I actually suggest, even if you have the hard copy, if you go online and get the digital copy, it makes it a lot easier to just search through and see exactly what it is you're looking for. So for someone who's maybe never seen one of these before, or who's never been comfortable with how these work, the first few pages are just going to be identifying the plan and the plan number and all that good stuff, a table of contents. But what most people are looking for is this page that is sort of the summary of what they have now, and then what is going to be changing for the upcoming plan year. So you can see on this particular plan, it's a really cheap plan. This is a plan that's typically going to be for someone who doesn't really take any medications. And they just want to have something in place in case, you know, they need something down the road, they need an antibiotic, and just so they don't get the penalty for the drug plan. So this one is really cheap. You see it's got a very small difference in cost from one year to the next. And most of the time, this is where people stop and they see this and they say, oh, it's going up less than $1. I'm good. I don't need to look any further. I'm just going to stick it out for the next year. But that could be a mistake. This particular plan is from a family member of mine, and if he had stuck it out, it would have tripled his drug costs for 2023. And that's all because if you look right down here past the premium, there's the tiered costs for each medication. So he has a drug that falls into a tier 3. It's a name brand inhaler. It's a pretty common one. And this year, he's been paying $46 for it at a preferred pharmacy. Unfortunately, for next year, if he's stuck with this because the retail cost is very expensive, that's going to a 25% co-insurance instead of just his flat $46 copay, which means that his cost would have gone up to about $150 every single month to fill that inhaler. So even though the premium cost is still very affordable, his overall drug cost would have tripled. He would have gone into the coverage gap a lot faster. So it's just very important to make sure you're looking past just the difference in premium. And then the other thing is just making sure that further down, it'll show you where you can access the pharmacy network. I had to block it out here because had the company name in it, but going and making sure that your pharmacy is still in network, that your pharmacy is still a preferred pharmacy, or if it changed to standard, you can see that can affect the cost of what you pay for your drugs, and then making sure that the drugs are still the same tier that they were before. So for example, if you have a tier 3 and it moves to a tier 4 for next year, that also is a really big difference in cost.
So on a Medicare Advantage plan, they change every year too. And so you might have not just differences in copays, but huge differences in networks. Sometimes hospital networks will come into a plan and it's great. Sometimes hospital networks will leave a plan and it's not so great. But unlike a Medicare supplement, the Medicare Advantage plans do change every single year. And it's so critical that people look at their notice of change and see where they're going to be next year. And then, as we'll talk about in just a minute, how to compare that to everything else in the market. Go ahead, Ann, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. Most people are just calling and asking us what they're supposed to be doing with this notice. And really, this is just information for you to know what happens if you do not change your drug plan. Then this is what you're going to have for next year. This is going to be the default. But we always recommend, and I'm sure you've seen Chris recommend, that even though, for example, this one, say we take out the inhaler and maybe this person wasn't taking any medications, $1 change, not a big deal, but that's not in context of what all the other plans on the market are doing. So there could be another plan that changed in your favor. So even though this is great information, it's not something that you should just take a look at and then be done with for the year. You should always go back and compare coverage during the annual enrollment period. Okay, so the other thing is that a lot of our clients, they receive extra help on their drug costs, and this document that you're going to get in the mail, the annual notice of change, does not necessarily reflect the costs that you will pay if you have extra help. Now, some companies will put a separate insert into the notice of change for you that will have for your level of extra help what you will pay. Others won't, but you can contact the company if you really want to know, and they can kind of give you an idea or send you something separate showing the cost for whether you have partial or full extra help. And again, that really doesn't do you any good if you can't compare it to everything else in the market during the annual enrollment period. So if you're one of our awesome clients and you're calling us for help on this, we really can't talk to you about it until at least October 1st. We can't talk about any plan details for 2023 until after October 1st. And then you really can't act on it or do anything about it until October 15th. So at this point, it's just information only.
So what happens at October 15th? What should everyone be doing?
Great question. All of our clients, we have a really great website set up called startpartd.com. And if you haven't used it in years past, I highly, highly recommend it. And on there, you can compare all the different drug plans that we work with. It makes it really easy to plug in your medications, or maybe you've already done that in years past, what pharmacy you want to use, and it'll just kind of spit out whichever plan has the lowest cost for you for the upcoming plan year. So it makes it really easy. You don't have to try to take this notice of change and compare it to everybody else's plans for 2023. It'll all do that for you on the website. And that starts on October 15th. We have tried in years past to accommodate as many one-on-one drug plan appointments as we can. And there are a lot more of you than there are of us. So while we would love to do one for every single person, the website is really the best, the fastest, and the easiest way to go.
And you were mentioning this in our office meeting the other day, how it's better for a lot of people to visualize and actually see what we see. And you can do that on our website, but then the enrollment is so easy there too. So you can compare all the plans, and it's just really important to reiterate, don't just look at the plan premium.
Yeah.
Even once you put your drugs in there, don't compare just by the premium. You have to compare to the total out-of-pocket estimated cost for all of the entire year, but you can do that using that free tool. And at the end, you can enroll in whichever plan you wish, choose your payment method. You can have it coming out of your Social Security automatically, just the Part D drug plan we're talking about, or the Medicare Advantage plan if you choose. And then that'll kick in January 1st. And what happens after January?
Well, if you are just on a drug plan, then you're good to go. So once you choose a plan during the annual enrollment period, or if you don't choose a plan you'll roll over with the same one you have. All those changes take effect on January 1st, and you are good for the full 2023 calendar year. For people who have a Medicare Advantage plan, you have all of AEP, same thing, changes kick in on January 1st, but you actually have the Medicare Advantage open enrollment period that runs October 1st through
January.
March. Yep.
January, yeah.
See, we're so AEP on the brain right now. January 1st through March 31st. And for that time frame, if you are on a Medicare Advantage plan, you get one more freebie to change to a different one. Maybe you found out something about the plan you signed up for that you didn't realize, and it's not the best fit anymore. You can look at some other options. But unlike the annual enrollment period, you only get one change during that time.
So let's talk deadline. So September, they're getting the annual notice of change. We just talked about looking at their current plan if they did nothing else. And I saw a study recently that said 70% of people never shop their plan. And we've had this happen last year. It's going to happen again this year. We had inexpensive plans go not just from the premium, but the formulary part. They'll go to super expensive if you don't do anything, and it impacts you. So we're really encouraging you to look at the entire market this year, starting October 15th. And the deadline, hard deadline, is midnight, December 7th. And an interesting quirk is if you pick something on October 15th, and then you see something else in the market and you're like, you know what, I need to look at that plan because my sister, aunt, uncle, somebody looked at it and they said that's a better plan for them. Whatever's the last enrollment application that you submit with the last one you file before midnight on December 7th, whichever last one hits Medicare, that's the one that's going to kick in for January 1st. So you can enroll, I don't encourage you to enroll 3 or 4 times, but you literally could during the annual enrollment period. The last one that goes in, your last pick is the last of the musical chairs, and that's the one you have to sit in for all of next year. And there's no do-over on that. So December 7th is a real hard and fast date. I want to also repeat what you just said. We have a finite number of people in our office. There's only 20 of us, and we have a lot of clients in all 50 states. So what we're trying to do is make it available to you to see what we see on the drug plan part. What happens every year is everyone with a Medicare supplement, we've got thousands of clients across the country, they think because of the commercials on the television that they have to do something with their Medicare supplement, have to compare it, have to shop it right now. And that's not true. The Medicare supplement stays the same as when you bought it. The only thing that can change is the premium on your anniversary day, but the plans won't change on Medicare supplement. They can't by law, they're locked in. So now is really not the best time to compare your Medicare supplement, which we have a lot more capacity to do all year long. But this finite period of time is only for Medicare Advantage comparison and enrollment and Part D drug plan comparison and enrollment. And if you really, really desperately need help and you're a client of ours already, then we can try to put you on our calendar and manually go over this. But I'm telling you, it's a really easy process. Just try it. If you haven't yet, you really should try it at startpartd.com and see if there's something you can navigate on your own and do the easy enrollment. And again, you have a do-over if you find out later that you want to look at it some more and look at the other options. Did I miss anything, Hannah?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much covers it.
Okay. Thanks for joining me, Hannah. If y'all have questions, come to our website. It's called seniorsavingsnetwork.org. And if you want to see updates for 2023, it's at seniorsavingsnetwork.org/update. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thanks, Hannah.
You're welcome.